Hollywood relationships often don't last, but legendary actor Sam Elliott is ready to reveal his secret sweetheart. With his deep, captivating voice, good looks, and a 50-year acting career, Sam has remained a big name in Hollywood. He's best known for his role as Mayor Wild West on the popular TV comedy Family Guy. A long career like his is bound to have some rumors, right? For decades, Sam has stayed quiet about the rumors. But now, at 79 years old, he's ready to share the identity of his true love. In this script, we'll dive into Sam Elliott's life, from his youth to his career, and explore the story of his one true love. So, sit back and enjoy the journey. Sam Elliott's youth was foundational to his profession. So let's start there before we get to the juicy aspects of his life. Although he was born in Sacramento, California in 1944, he spent his formative years in Oregon, where he was free to roam the great woods and watch endless movies. So it was expected that he would decide to become an actor as soon as he was 9 years old. His father was quite doubtful and disapproved of his ambition to become an actor, despite the fact that he seemed to be very content with his choice, and he was still a young lad. His dad was an employee of the United States Marshals Service. Perhaps the head of the Fish and Wildlife Service assumed that his son's behavior was only a phase. But Sam was shocked to find that his kid was still adamant about becoming an actor right up to the day he passed away, which was when Sam was just 18 years old. Since the older Elliot died suddenly of a heart attack, the breach that this argument caused between the two will never be healed. Sam spoke about his father's death in a subsequent interview, saying that he thought he was making a mistake. He was saddened or strengthened in his drive to have a successful acting career, but he remained unfazed and resolved to prove to his father that he could make it big in the industry. However, being a successful actor is a whole other ballgame than just having an acting profession. Although Sam was hell-bent on being famous, no one ever said it would be easy. First of all, he had to leave college to focus on acting full-time, which was met with disapproval by relatives who shared his father's outlook. The second thing he had to do was look for work and auditions all across his city. Thankfully, he received his first substantial acclaim for his performance in Guys and Dolls from a regional newspaper. It was the first chapter in Sam's tale of triumph. After a series of disappointments, he finally achieved Hollywood fame, landing parts in films and TV shows, and making memorable cameos in films like Once an Eagle and Mission Impossible. While many of his admirers said that Once an Eagle was the picture that first attracted them to him, his breakout part came in the classic Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which catapulted him to the kind of stardom he had always dreamed of. He had emigrated to Hollywood in pursuit of fame and secured the job that would become his first credit. Sam was thrilled about his position as the second card player, even if it wasn't as big as Robert Redford's and Paul Newman's, who had played the title pair of Western outlaws. He considered it the first stride toward financial success. Katherine Ross, who portrayed Robert Redford's lover too convincingly, was the film's starring woman, but Sam never had the chance to talk to her because of the part he played. Nevertheless, destiny brought the two back together for the 1978 picture The Legacy, over 10 years later. You probably guessed it. They fell madly in love very quickly. The film wasn't terrific, but it left a legacy for Sam and Katherine, which is interesting. The co-stars were married 6 years after the movie came out, and they had a daughter they called Cleo. Sam was fortunate to have an abundance of television parts to choose from during the 1970s. Mission Impossible, Gunsmoke, and Hawaii Five-0 were all part of his resume at this time, and he even dabbled in biopics, portraying the iconic motorcycle daredevil Evel Knievel in a television adaptation of the book. What makes Sam a heartthrob is that his attractiveness alone was enough to propel him to that status. He had no interest in what he saw as a typical career in Hollywood. Because of this, he turned down parts for traditional leading man roles and started to grow out the long hair and handlebar mustache that would become his trademark. He has said that it takes him a few months to grow them back after shaving for a film. Sam was prepared to go to any lengths to avoid being identified as a sex symbol, knowing full well the immense shame that accompanied that label. In 1976, he expressed his desire to be Sam Elliott in an interview with Playgirl magazine. His interpretation of this was that he would have to take on more demanding supporting parts in several films. The 1985 drama Mask, which Sam co-starred in with Cher and Eric Stoltz, was inspired by the real-life tale of Rocky Dennis, a little child afflicted with craniodiaphyseal dysplasia, an extremely uncommon and deformative condition. His 1989 film Roadhouse, in which he played a mentor to Patrick Swayze, garnered him even more praise. His portrayal as the stranger, the enigmatic narrator of the Coen brothers' cult classic The Big Lebowski, 1998, was perhaps his most adored part, despite his many accomplishments and outstanding performances. His supporters will still approach him on the street and wait for him to utter the words, "The dude abides." Hoaxes about Sam's illness and death have circulated. His towering stature and slim figure make him easy to see. But even if that isn't enough to identify him, his hypnotic baritone voice will. Some of Sam's admirers said that they didn't remember him being that slim after his 2017 performance as Lee Hayden, in which he portrayed a dying Western star with cancer in the film The Hero. It was only natural that rumors would circulate that the actor had been secretly suffering from some mysterious sickness, and many began to assume that he had been unwell for some time. People started speculating on social media that it was cancer since no one knew what it was because it was a mystery. Their worst nightmare had come true. Sam, like his most recent fictional character in The Hero, had been diagnosed with cancer. Everyone was waiting for an official statement from his family or representative to address this, but all they heard was that Sam wasn't sick with a fatal illness, and that rumors about him started following his role in The Hero. Fans still weren't convinced, even after the claims were denied. If Sam didn't suffer from any debilitating joint problems, why did he sometimes walk with a limp? They were correct. Sam did in fact walk with a limp that had been present before. The story turned out to be quite different from the rumors that had circulated. He had to wear a surgical shoe to aid in the healing process after breaking his right foot. He continued by saying that his injuries included a fractured pinky toe and a buccal fracture. As an interviewee who found the story amusing, Sam revealed that his pinky toe fracture had really been caused by tripping over a toy dog and hitting the bed frame, rather than the fatal sickness that others had thought was the source of his limp. But Sam persisted in his profession and continued to wow audiences with his acting. Plus, if we're being really forthright, the films in which he displays his limp give his character a little more depth. After the cancer rumors died down, Sam had to contend with new allegations that he had Parkinson's disease, which was a major setback for him. The good news is that the rumors were just that, rumors, and the actor's health remains unaffected by Parkinson's disease. In 2023, word of Sam's death at age 79 circulated via an internet account, reviving interest in his health state. Fans and supporters quickly started expressing their condolences and support, and the story quickly became trending due to the lack of instant official confirmation to refute the accusations. The news of someone's death is always disturbing, even while it's true that you can't always trust what you read online. Sam reportedly didn't find out about the scam until much later, since he isn't very active on social media. His staff did, however, issue a statement in an effort to put an end to the rumors, urging internet users to exercise caution and verify claims independently. They pointed out that Sam joined a lengthy list of famous people who had fallen for this scam. Keep in mind that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was also a victim who was purportedly killed after plunging from a New Zealand mountain. Similarly, John Bon Jovi's legion of followers were subjected to a terrifying false alarm when it was said that he had died of a heart attack. Unfortunately, similar reports started spreading again in November of that year. Nevertheless, admirers soon discovered that he was still going strong at the age of 80. Everything that had transpired in August 2023 was actually a Facebook tribute post to the star, but it turned out to be a fake. Just so you know, Sam is still alive. Actually, right now he's the place he has always aspired to be, traveling the world, purchasing himself impressive possessions, like the yacht he bought, and enjoying life to the fullest. On top of that, he's charming since he's a gentleman who treats everyone with respect. Also, He seems healthy, and he's still going strong at a ripe old age, gracing movie screens with his amazing skill. Sam Elliott and Katherine Ross are one of the few couples who defy the rule that most Hollywood fans only ever want to see on screen. The pair has been together for 40 years, starting with their 1984 wedding. That's an astounding period of time for people in the film industry. Their relationship has lasted a long time, but they have had a difficult journey together. They were on the brink of divorce because of everything that had transpired. But first, let's take a deep dive into their love story's origins before we delve into the turbulence that surrounds their relationship. Sam, who is now 79 years old, is famous for his depiction of tough characters, such as cowboys, bikers, and soldiers, as well as his distinctive bushy mustache. In addition to his impressive resume, which includes appearances in critically acclaimed TV shows like Justified and memorable roles in blockbuster films like Tombstone, The Big Lebowski, and A Star is Born, he recently appeared in the Yellowstone spin-off 1883. Meanwhile, Katherine is a well-respected actress in her own right, known for her parts in acclaimed films such as The Graduate, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Stepford Wives. None of her other marriages lasted more than 5 years, despite her skill. They first met paths in 1969 on the set of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which is why the picture is significant to their careers. Not because it won accolades, but because it was there. Sam, a lesser-known character at the time, remembers feeling like a shadow in Katherine's presence, despite the briefness of their first encounter. He wasn't mistaken. Even in the film's credits, he was listed as card player number 2. Their bond became stronger while they were both working on the horror film The Legacy, which took place in a haunted English manor almost 10 years later. There were on-screen and off-screen sparks as their love story progressed like a traditional Hollywood romance. Despite Katherine's 5 years of experience and 4 marriages before to meeting Sam, the two eventually fell in love. She was really married to her 4th husband when she met Sam, which is rather interesting. She wed her 2nd spouse in 1984 after getting a divorce in 1979. They had reached a crossroads in their life with this marriage. While Sam was experiencing his first wedding, Katherine was making her 7th journey down the aisle. Sam had not yet achieved his big break in the profession, no matter how talented he was. On the other hand, when they were on their Hawaiian honeymoon, destiny intervened and gave him a part in the film Mask that would change his life. At first, he was afraid to audition because he didn't want to ruin their wedded happiness. However, he was finally able to achieve his long-awaited breakthrough thanks to Katherine's constant encouragement and support. Not only did Katherine support her boyfriend, but she also showed that she knew her stuff when it came to the profession. The critical and commercial success of Mask was sufficient to establish Sam as a Hollywood heavyweight. In the same year that the film came out, the happy couple had their first child, a girl named Cleo Rose. She is now a Malibu-based artist that is creating waves in the industry. Interestingly, Sam and Katherine were also featured in 2017's The Hero, which reunited them on screen. Elliot portrayed Lee Hayden, while Katherine played his ex-wife. Speaking about their long marriage in a radio interview for the film, Sam said, "I think really what it boils down to is we love each other and we work at it." He went on to say that wanting to be married is the most important thing, and that they had worked hard to keep their marriage strong. His life's ambitions consisted solely of becoming a successful actor, getting married, and starting a family. His good fortune has brought him an embarrassment of money, in his opinion. Sam spoke warmly of Katherine as the love of his life in an interview from 1985, and all these years later, their feelings for one another remain unchanged. Both of their homes are in Oregon, although the pair spends most of their time in California. Sam said in another interview that marriage is hard work but worth it in the end. He claims that not only do they understand one another, but they also work very hard to maintain their connection. He added that partnerships last when one partner refuses to give up in the face of adversity. It seems to be working for them because despite all the ups and downs of fame, Sam and Katherine have stayed true friends. Their love is an encouragement to others in the entertainment business who see so many short-lived relationships. True love can endure, even in the glitter and glamour of Hollywood, as their path shows us all. After an argument in 2011, Katherine almost ended their marriage by obtaining a restraining order against her own daughter. It was a tragic turn of events for the family. According to court records, Katherine got the restraining order against her daughter Cleo, who was 26 years old at the time, after an argument that escalated into violence. The events surrounding the couple sent shockwaves throughout Hollywood. Cleo was up in the glitter and glamour of the entertainment business, so she has always understood what it's like to have Hollywood blood. Despite coming from an acting family, Cleo decided to follow her musical dreams, according to the Malibu Times. Although she dabbled on the flute and guitar at a young age, her heart's desire and gift were always in singing. Cleo spent 4 years honing her musical abilities in Santa Monica, California's Joanne Baron D.W. Brown acting studio after finishing high school at Colin McHugh. In order to make ends meet while attending acting school, she dabbled in modeling and had a short appearance on the reality program Sexy Hair. Additionally, she got the chance to refine her musical abilities when she was taken under the wing of the famous singer and composer Charity Chapman, who wanted to teach her the ins and outs of classical opera. She first appeared on the scene in 2008 with the release of No More Lies, her first album, which was somewhat successful commercially. Despite her training in classical opera, she was most influenced by the heavy metal of Guns N' Roses and Led Zeppelin, whose songs she often used as inspiration. Cleo discussed her songwriting approach and the emotional depth of her work in an interview she gave to the Malibu Times in 2008. It felt like the world was waiting for her with her beautiful, striking beauty, incredible musical skill, and her famous family's connections. Her life took a turn for the worst when, in a harrowing act of domestic violence, she stabbed her mother in the arm with scissors while furious. The delight that Katherine found in spending time with her husband and their 7-year-old daughter Cleo was highlighted in a 1992 People story. Their connection, however, deteriorated as Cleo matured. Katherine disclosed a disturbing history of emotional and verbal abuse by Cleo that began in her early years in an open statement she gave to the Los Angeles County Superior Court. Things became worse for Cleo as she approached puberty, and on March 2, 2011, the horrific act of violence occurred. That tragic day, Cleo lost it and went on a rampage, destroying their house and making savage threats against her mother. Cleo resorted to severing the phone connection and wielding scissors as a weapon, intensifying the altercation, while Katherine attempted to call aid. Scars are tangible manifestations of the psychological and emotional damage that Katherine suffered in the subsequent physical confrontation. Despite the gravity of the situation, competing accounts have made it impossible to determine what drove Cleo to behave the way she did. After this, Katherine felt pressured to seek a restraining order out of fear that Cleo might behave similarly. There was a brief moment when it seemed like the strong familial tie might break. The restraining order was dismissed, however, when the two persons involved unexpectedly did not show up for the court hearing as planned. After Katherine's statement about wanting to heal their relationship after the stabbing, the two have made appearances together at red carpet events all around Hollywood, joined by Sam. It would seem that Katherine and her daughter had no hard feelings about the event, at least from the outside looking in. But the criticism was too much for Cleo's music career, and it never completely recovered. Little is known of Cleo after the notorious stabbing, and in the 10 years following the occurrence, she has withdrawn from public view, leaving many mysteries unsolved. Cleo has made a point of avoiding the spotlight, but her few public appearances with the Elliots on special occasions have given the impression that the family has moved on from what was perhaps their most difficult period. The family's love for one another has helped them persevere through many hardships, and it's touching to watch how it has sustained Sam and Katherine's romance for decades, despite the Hollywood cliché of failed Hollywood hookups. Be sure to subscribe and like the video if you liked Sam, and tell us what you think of him in the comments section.